Hello there YouTube, it's your boy B3, back with another kicking graphic novel review. Today we're getting back on DC. I know I do a lot of DC, but that's because it's my favorite corporate comic. I'll get back to Image and try to do some Marvel and stuff soon. But today we are looking at Future State Batman Dark Detective from 2021. If you don't know what Future State is, that's fine. You can skip all the Future State stuff and honestly be totally fine. Because you remember right before COVID, DC was going to do this 5G initiative or something. And then COVID happened and they had to completely redo everything. So they did these like flash forwards to kind of kill time when they were figuring Infinite Frontier out. And if you watched my Infinite Frontier review, you know I was not impressed. And Future State has a lot of stories that are really stupid. But it also has a lot of stories that are pretty cool. Whoa, I almost fell out of my chair. But Batman Dark Detective, I think, is one that is actually pretty cool. Also, it's not Future's End, and I might accidentally call it Future's End. Sorry if I do. It's just they didn't name this well. But yeah, flash forwards can be really cool. In fact, I actually really like flash forwards in comics. Especially for long-lived characters like this, but a lot of these were just rushed. But remember, a lot of people were mad about these because they didn't like where the characters went in them, but they're possible futures, people. Not definite. This isn't definitely where DC is headed, because if it was, they would have just gone there and not shown the flash forwards. In fact, we see that in Fear State, Batman beats Scarecrow and that other dude, and this specific future we're about to look at doesn't happen because of the James Tynion Batman run. But this is what could have happened if Batman wasn't as successful during the James Tynion the Fourth run. Anyhow, I'll be reading the back of the book now. Discover the dark destiny of Gotham City. In the not-too-distant future, a sinister force has invaded the city of Gotham, and its power, unlike any the Bat family has faced before. The Magistrate controls everything: commerce, curfew, civil liberties, and their constant surveillance leaves Gothamites with nowhere to hide, even in their own homes. Where did the Magistrate come from? Who are the leaders behind this insidious paramilitary powerhouse? And who can stop them? With Bruce Wayne forced underground, it's up to his remaining friends and allies to help starve off the brutality of the Magistrate, or die trying. Now, specialty trains are erected to transport undesirables from the city streets to incarceration, and Catwoman is on the case to send one off the rails. Tim Drake and Spoiler are on a one-way mission to destroy an air convoy that would make the Magistrate's forces effectively immortal. Some heroes, like Harley Quinn and Red Hood, are manipulated by the Magistrate to do their evil bidding. And even Superman himself proves no match for the corrosive Kryptonite Caverns. This action-packed volume of the Future State saga collects stories from Future State Dark Detective 1 through 4, Future State Batman Superman 1 and 2, Future State Catwoman 1 and 2, Future State Harley Quinn 1 and 2, and Future State Robin Eternal 1 and 2. These stories are brought to life by a cavalcade of tremendous talent, including Eisner Award-winning writer Mariko Tamaki from Detective Comics and Wonder Woman, Michael L. Prince Award winner and MacArthur Fellow Jean Lewin Yang from Superman Smashes the Klan, which I hear is amazing, and I have a copy of it somewhere, and The Terrifics, which I also want to read. Award-winning writer Ram V from Catwoman, who would go on to do, I believe, Swamp Thing, which I really enjoyed, and fan-favorite scribe Joshua Williamson from Batman, Superman, and The Flash. I believe I've read both those. And amazing artists such as Dan Mora from Detective Comics and Once and Future, and Otto Schmidt from Green Arrow, and more. So yeah, there's a lot of different stories in here. A lot of different stories. So let's go through it. First off, we have Batman Dark Detective. Bruce Wayne is considered dead, and so is Batman. Of course, neither are. Here's the thing. A lot of writers like to take away Batman's wealth. They're like, oh, let's take away his riches and then we'll see who he really is as a character. But it doesn't often work out that way. Recently, when James Tynion took a lot of Batman's money, I thought it was kind of cool, but it didn't change that much. It did, but it also didn't. They bumped him from billionaire to millionaire, which I think was better from a storytelling standpoint because it made them focus more on Batman's skill and less on his gadgets, which was something that Tynion was very clearly trying to do. And that worked, and I loved that, and it was great. Thank you. But still, he was a rich man, and he still had his gadgets and stuff, and he was still fighting crime. It didn't really slow him down that much. Tynion was just kind of forcing other Batman writers to kind of be a bit better. Of course, Tynion IV is one of my favorite comic writers of all time, and one of the best living comic writers of all time. So, it has been done before as well, in Scott Snyder's Batman Eternal. Hush conspired with another villain who will remain anonymous in case you haven't read it to take away Batman's money. But when they took away Batman's money in the New 52, it honest to God felt like nothing happened. Like Batman said he lost money, but he still had just as many gadgets. He didn't have to downgrade his living situation like he did in Tynion's run, where he had to move into a townhouse and stuff. It really didn't feel like it changed at all in the New 52. They said it happened, but it didn't feel like it happened. But I mean, in this book, Bruce Wayne has lost everything. He has no money, little to no gadgets, except for the ones he can cobble together himself. And the dude is hurting. The Magistrate has great tech. They're this fascist surveillance state. They have drones everywhere. And anyone wearing a mask is shot on sight. Masks are just fully straight up illegal. But Bruce is still trying. He's still trying. And I love this Batsuit. Like, I gotta get the McFarlane figure. It's so cool. It is so bare bones. He has a trench coat sometimes, but he doesn't have a cape or anything. And he's like very clearly spray painted a bat symbol on it in yellow. It's a great bat suit. It looks like one that someone who's not rich could put together, for the most part at least. And it looks great. I love it. I love it. A lot of people probably disagree. I'd wager there's a lot of people that are not fans of this bat suit or his permanent 5 o'clock shadow. But it's a great looking bat suit. And the colors in this book are great. Some weird purples and blues and yellows and greens that you wouldn't expect in a Batman book that, you know, isn't about the Joker. It looks really good, and he's staying with this kind of really paranoid guy who's kind of right to be paranoid because the Magistrate's insane, and his daughter, and Bruce is convincing said daughter to help him, and he has to come take down the Magistrate. He also meets the new Batman, who we're going to talk about in another volume of Future State, and who I also really like. It's another character that's taken over as Batman because everyone believes that Bruce Wayne and the original Batman are dead. And this new Batman also has a really cool bat suit. I have one tiny little complaint about it, but we'll save that for when I actually talk about that book. But it's a real quick meeting, they meet just long enough so that they can be like, hey, remember to read the new Batman as well in Future State. It's basically an ad. And they don't interact for very long because the next Batman has to go off and do his own story. But it is very cool. And explosions happen. He's got to fight the Peacekeepers because, you know, there were those Peacekeepers that were getting real... What's the word I'm looking for? Aggressive isn't the word I want to use, but that's the one that's in my head. In the Fear State story. Have we reviewed Fear State? No, I don't think so. But it kind of ends on a big cliffhanger with a big explosion. And the story doesn't really have a proper end, at least not in this volume. But there's part of me that kind of feels like it doesn't at all. And then we find out that Red Hood has kind of seemingly turned against his own kind. You know, in Django Unchained? It's Django Unchained. He's doing a Django Unchained. So in this book, Red Hood is posing as a mask hunter. Yeah, he's a masked vigilante, but he works for the magistrate. And he and Ravager, who he should date. I mean, I guess he kind of does in this, but he dates her better in Unkillables, Deceased. They take out masks, and it's a bit anime-ish in its art style. Very interesting that they went for this kind of anime manga-y look. But yeah, Red Hood, the magistrate seems to have kind of turned against him, but it turns out, spoiler, Red Hood is kind of secretly working for the Bat family. So yeah, Django Unchained, you know, he's pretending to be a black slaver, but in actuality, he's trying to free his wife. It's the same thing. He's doing a Django Unchained. Anyway, it's not super interesting because you kind of already expect him to come back. And then there's also this Batman-Superman story that I really wish they wouldn't have done. It's kind of stupid when you think about it. And I mean, I guess it's an okay story just as a whole, with these mutations and there's kryptonite and Toad head. Man with Toad head are there. Toad head have man on Toad. But the thing that really gets me for this story is the ending. Because, I mean, like, it's a Professor Pig thing. Grant Morrison villain. And there's this crazy spider Superman, which is actually rad as hell, and I would love an action figure of it. But after they win and everything, Superman offers to stay and help with the magistrate. And Batman kicks him out of Gotham. Batman's like, no, we have to deal with this, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, motherfucker, that's Superman. You don't... What are you doing? And it's because DC knows. They effing know. That if Superman actually does stay to help, then the magistrate's done, right? But they kind of have to write on all these bullshit reasons that why Superman can't stay and help free Gotham from fascism. And also Gotham is like the only city with all these fascists. Like the rest of the DC cities all seem to kind of be fine. Like, what's going on? Then there's the Catwoman story. She has to do this heist on a train. And on the train, she's there to free Bruce Wayne, who's been captured. But... What? Huh? It's like, oh, that must be post-explosion? Because that's the only point in this timeline where he could be on this train, is post-explosion in his other story. So this either happens after, or it's a big continuity issue. And if it does happen after, there's a lot more that needs to be explained. And I really don't think it's going to be explained in future volumes. The Catwoman story was whatever. But I actually really liked the Harley Quinn one. She was kind of being manipulated into taking all these people down, and Scarecrow's like kind of reformed, sorta. I actually really liked the Harley Quinn one. You should definitely give it a read, with her putting her psychiatrist skills to the test, and also just a really good art in it too. It's also kind of manga-y, but it's like a good mix. It's a very anime-looking Scarecrow, and I really like how Scarecrow looks in this book. Really like it. The Harley isn't totally my style, but it's fine. And then there's this Robin Eternal thing, and the art style does look a lot like. It's very clearly the art from the 2016 Detective Comics run. Also, Tim Drake is my boy. He's my favorite Robin, and he's working with Stephanie. And Stephanie, really makes sense. Her fighting the Magistrate, with all her hacker and tech skills, and the Magistrate using all these drones and stuff, she's very clearly like an MVP in the fight against the Magistrate. And I guess this book is like fine. Tim Drake kind of gets soaked. There's a lot going on in this book with like kind of Lazarus-y stuff. And Tim Drake gets to be basically superhuman. Peacekeepers show up. Robin's kind of hallucinating. This one's a bit weirder. It wasn't my favorite. I think Stephanie fighting against the Magistrate is a really good idea. I love Tim Drake and pretty much anything. But this one just felt so... I don't know. It didn't really feel like it added much to this world. Does that make sense? But I mean, that's really it. The Dark Detective and the Harley Quinn ones are the two big must-reads for me in this. The rest of it is whatever. But I really do think that you should read the Batman Dark Detective Future State and the Harley Quinn Future State. I think those were really cool, but the rest were bleh. And I do have more. I got Future State Superman, Future State Justice League, Future State The Next Batman, Future State Wonder Woman, and I've already reviewed Future State Suicide Squad. I reviewed that a little while ago. Actually, more than a little while ago. It was quite a while ago. But that is it. Let me know what you thought of Future State in the comments section down below. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description. Facebook, Twitter, etc. Actually, I don't have Facebook anymore. I don't know why I keep saying that. But I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.